Don't see anyone talking about this anymore. Melee weapons need a buff. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Okay, so I've been using melee with tactical and assault and bulwark in operations. The hammer is just so slow, man. If you're not charging that thing, it's not going to be very impactful, which is a pain. And even with that, when you go for a charge attack, you have no hyper armor. You're just gonna get hit out of it. There are definitely certain things besides damage that melees could use a quick buff on. But as far as damage goes, yeah, I could see it getting a little bit of a buff. Nothing too crazy, though. Like, sometimes all these classes need is only like a little, like, 10% melee buff or something. But let's see what the community wants. I feel this has been drowned out slightly with everything else going on in the community. I'm glad it seems like the devs are headed in the right direction with the bolter buffs, although most of them still feel pretty weak and need a bigger headshot multiplier. Yep, agreed. Seriously though, melee, okay, back on the headshot multiplier thing, I had comments when I was using the heavy bolt rifle, like, they were like, oh man, all those body shots, you're not even aiming for the head, noob, and it's like, dude, A, the damage is the same, B, it's a wide range, like, bullet spread. So aiming for the body means I'm gonna hit more shots. Nice one or two YouTube commenters. Maybe realize what weapon I'm using first. Okay, sorry, that was a little petty. Seriously though, melee still needs a massive buff. Having to hit a majors 10 times with a power sword is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, I agree. At least a charged up power sword. And honestly, I feel like we should, you know, we should get a specific difficulty that we really want melee to be buffed in. But for the most part, I feel like every difficulty it could use a little bit of a buff, and it won't, you know, it won't change too much. But yeah, if you're like in a 1v1 situation with a major and you only have melee, yeah, that can feel a little punishing when you just get hit once and your entire health bar is gone. Especially in lethal, when you're getting chipped by lots of range damage. Really hope the melee weapons get some much needed love, because right now it feels like I'm swinging a pool noodle at major's enemies. Yeah. Yep. A pool noodle. And this guy said power sword. I'm more like leaning towards the hammer, at least as far as, you know, PvE goes. The hammer just feels so slow, and again, when you charge it, when you do the charge attack, you can just get hit out of it. You have no hyper armor. It's very, very tedious to use. Yep, here's another post about melee being underpowered within the last 48 hours. Melee's underpowered. Title says it all. Melee weapons generally are a joke that do what feels like no damage. Also, I gotta say, for melee, when it comes to PvP, it feels fine. Just want to point that out. Most melee weapons needing like 12 to 15 hits to kill a single major level enemy on higher difficulties. Yeah, see, PvP doesn't have that issue. We have like at max 4 hits. The Power Fist needs a buff for PvP. That thing is slow and also doesn't have any range. It was only really good when you had the one-shot charge attack. Like, it's super weird. But okay. Only redeeming quality is parrying melee attacks, which is great into Tyranids since they have many parryable attacks and actually have melee on majors enemies. Yeah, good old melee battle, you know, very fun. Chaos, on the other hand, feel awful as a melee class. They mostly spam unblockable attacks, which means you either can't attack, as you will get stuck in a melee animation. Yep. So you can't dodge or tank the damage while doing next to nothing back. Finally, get a chance to attack with your wet noodle. Hey, another noodle mention. Is it the same guy? Wet noodle of a melee weapon. Teleports away. Why in 40k is melee not high risk, high reward? They have the high risk part down, but there's no reward besides fencing parry gun strikes. I mean, that's pretty good. But yeah, at the same time, it's like, you don't really need a good melee weapon to, you know, well, fencing parry gun strikes do sound pretty good. But yeah, for the most part, you just need, you know, you just need to build around gun strikes and not really melee attacks, and that's kind of weird for melee-based classes, you know? Interesting. 12 to 15 hits on a major is such a lie? Okay, so we have some pushback on this. 1 gun strike and around 5 melee hits should be enough on Ruthless with relic weapons. Okay, but hold on. Relic weapons are built for lethal. I get it. Like, that's shooting down, isn't it? Like, isn't your relic weapon, shouldn't it be insanely, like, just good on Ruthless? It should, yeah, it should just destroy everything, essentially. I don't know. But, I mean, I understand. Yeah, for the most part, one gun strike and a couple melee weapons. I think we're mostly talking about, you know, we're mostly talking about melee without gun strikes. But, okay, noted. I think it's fine, probably more out of a necessity that it feels the way it does. Okay? This is why I like covering a subject and going on both sides for it, because everyone has a good point. At least when it comes to, you know, Space Marine 2. Can't have Majorus going down in like 2 to 3 hits without putting 50 Majorus on the screen at a time. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know if we're asking for 2 to 3 hits for melee. I asked for 10%. At least 10% feels like if, let's say it takes 12 to 15 hits, then yeah, it would go down to like, you know, like maybe 10, something like that. But okay, yeah, fair point. I'm level 25 with every class and beat 2 solo missions on Lethal with Assault, Inferno, and Ballistic, and I still think melee is bad. Power Swords and Thunderhammers should never take so many hits to kill a Tyranid warrior. Okay. Very to the point. Interesting. Dude, another subject that people seemingly can't really, like, nobody has, like, a consistent experience. Everyone's like, oh, you just have to do, like, you know, you just parry them, get a gun strike in, 2 to 3 attacks, and get another gun strike, and melee's the best thing in the game. And, and then you have other people who are like, dude, it takes me 50 hits to kill one enemy. Really, yeah, dude, I like when we have discussions like that, for sure. You gotta wonder why a big hammer swung with both hands gives less knockback than Power Sword as well. Oof, I agree. Light combo from Power Sword gives knockback, which gives gun strikes on Minotaurus. You don't get that unless you heavy with hammer. What? That's crazy. Okay, yeah. Noted. Apparently the running attacks do, but okay. Average melee fight be like, equip parry weapon, press C at roughly the right time, be invincible. The only redeeming factor of the hammer over other weapons is its extremely wide arc and miner's knockback. Okay, so long as you alternatively swing front and back, no Minotaurus will hit you? I don't think every heavy hit should knock an enemy out of the power hit, but the power fist and hammer definitely should. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree. So, dude, see, this is why the discussions are good. We start to really, you know, zero in on what the issue with certain melee classes are. And yeah, if Power Fist and Hammer aren't stunning people, I find that to be a problem, for sure. Oh yeah, even this guy's calling Power Fist and Hammers underwhelming. Fair enough. So, like, he points out the strong part about heavies, or not heavies, about melees. In general, you know, melee's parries are insanely powerful because you can essentially just negate damage as long as you time it right. But at the same time, Power Fist and Hammers aren't able to stun things, so it turns them into underwhelming damage, or underwhelming weapons. Probably underwhelming damage as well. On a similar note, a horde of Minotaurus enemies should be able to stop your perfect parry if you have a balanced weapon just because you only blocked the first one. Oh wait, he shouldn't. On a similar note, a horde of Minotaurus enemies shouldn't be able to stop your perfect parry if you have a balanced weapon, just because you only blocked the first one. Alright, noted. This guy knows a lot more about parries than I do. It's so funny how if I shadow stab with the knife, I always stun the target, but doing a pound with a thunder hammer doesn't. Peak. Yep. Okay. So, yep, hammers and power fists should stun. Maybe buff melee weapons, you know, maybe like at the end of the combo, maybe buff the damage a little bit, so we don't have to rely on parrying too much. Yeah, give those charge attacks on the power fist and the hammer, you know, a little bit of super armor or something like that. There's definitely ways we can buff melee to make them more viable without just, you know, buffing the damage of it and saying, yep, that's it. There's definitely other ways we could do this. But, okay, I'm glad to see people talking about it because I agree. We should definitely be less fragile, or, you know, we shouldn't be able to get hit out of our heavy charge attacks if the enemy also can't, you know what I mean? Because then we're charging a full heavy attack and the enemy can just hit us out of it and then charge up their own full heavy attack and then we can't hit them out of it at all. I mean, we could dodge away and gun strike, I guess, but we want to hit them with a melee attack to stun them. You know what I mean? I don't know. Good conversation. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel. Let me know your melee experience. And thanks for watching.